hit record and great, away we go. Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Wolf, and I'm the president of I'm actually the executive director. Sorry, not president. That is reserved for other kinds of people. But I lead up the World Food Travel Association. How's that? And I'm delighted today to be joined by Concetta, who's the founder of Unconventional Hotels based in Milan, Italy. I met Concetta a few years ago. I think it was after a session at World Travel Market, and she came up to me, and she's very energetic, and she comes up and she's got all these ideas, and she's very exciting and animated. And anyway, it was a lot of fun speaking with her. And over the past couple of years, I've come to realize she really knows a lot about the food tourism experience. And she focuses a lot on what's happening in Italy. Of course, it makes good sense. And one of the things that she really focuses on is the visitor experience, but really the experience that starts with breakfast. And this obviously is going to be taking place in hotels more often than not as well. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Concetta to join us. Concetta, can you turn your things on?
Yeah.
Great. Welcome.
Hi. Hi,
All right.
Erik.
Hi. So I've just stopped sharing my screen. And if you'd like to share yours.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, by the way. And it was amazing also to listen to Chantal's stories and presentations. As it means also, it has to mean also with my project about the uncommercial breakfast and the travelers' experiences. So
it was a perfect setup for your talk.
Yeah. A great asset, as we say in Italy with the football team. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see it, but can you expand it into presentation mode? There we go. That's perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Let me know when I can. I'm ready. You can tell me.
Oh yeah, go ahead. It's all yours.
Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna tell you also about the secrets about behind the fruit. So why hotels are not so ready to prepare the fruit at breakfast. We're gonna tell you this also. So it's about the unconventional breakfast. I came out with this project and with this format because when I realized 3 years ago I have some food intolerances. I was in charge of the first eco-friendly hotel chain in Italy. And the problem was the breakfast when I was traveling. And I'm not vegan, I'm not vegetarian, but I'm gluten sensitive. I'm not celiac, and I cannot drink milk. And I'm also a sportive woman, so I choose to eat in a healthy way, but it's always important to consider the taste. So food has to be an experience. Everything has to be tasty, not something like you don't like to eat, okay? And so when I realized I was asking for a soya milk or a coffee with soya milk or other kind of food for breakfast, it was like hoteliers were looking at me, or waiters. It's like, or nobody is asking us this, or you're the only one, or the worst answer they tell me, it's like, we cannot prepare something just for one person. It was like, oh my God. And when I was also doing consultancy and the trainers inside in hotels and in restaurants, and when I was hearing and looking the behavior behind the waiters and also about the guests, it was like, why are these waiters are treating these guests this way? They deserve the same opportunity, and they have the same rights to experience a great and amazing gastronomic experience as the normal one, let me say. So I decided to do something on my own and came out with the unconventional breakfast. So the purpose is to tell the story about the territory, starting from the breakfast. So nobody was realizing how important is the breakfast. And it's about storytelling and story selling, of course, but you have to consider also other options. So the mission is to let this guest, the unconventional foodies, as I call them, so vegetarian, vegan, celiac, lactose intolerant, the sporting one, and so also people with other kind of religion. So they deserve the same rights and the same opportunity to live the same experience. So, and this is a great way to make more business. And if you work in the hotel industry, you know perfectly that breakfast and it's the most important service for your business. It's the last service guests can remember, and the 70% of reviews online on TripAdvisor, Booking.com, and so on are depending from the breakfast. So this is what happened. So let's see. We're gonna discover some issues here. I'm gonna reveal you the 3 golden rules that can help you to monetize your business. The slides are available, so it's not a problem. I'm gonna tell you all the stories and what happened in our industry, not only in Italy, of course. And so what happened? Just to make some fun, and as also Chantal was talking before, if somebody asks for a gluten-free menu, it's like, oh my God, everybody is in panic. And there are more and more guests that are telling, I'm vegan, I cannot eat this, or I prefer that. And it's like a stress in the hospitality industry. I know everything. I know because I was working also behind the scenes. So I have the experience as a professional and also as a guest. And so I really know all the problems behind. And it's like, for example, what happened? And the vegan, unfortunately, I have to say to Chantal, are the most hated guests that professionals can welcome in a restaurant or in a hotel, unfortunately, because there is no culture. It's just they need more time to understand really what makes really excited for this guest. So, for example, it happened this kind of joke, and it's like when somebody asks for a vegan menu, or normally it's the women. So we have to think also behind the scene about the psychological thing. So normally women are more sensitive and are more vegetarian or vegan. And so the waiter tells, well, find another one, find another girlfriend, something like this. Or also if somebody tell I cannot eat dairy food or eggs, or I cannot eat gluten and so on. So what do you suggest? And the waiter is like, oh, go away or take a taxi, something like this. So just to joke about this, but there is a real problem here. What is the behavior behind the unconventional foodies? So if you have to think about how our brain work. So normally it always happens when I ask to my audience, I know that sometimes it happens something like, is there some guest that asks you for a vegan menu or a gluten-free menu, and then you see him or you see her eating other kind of option with some meat or with some fish or with some gluten inside. And so the waiter, I understand them, they are like, what the hell? So you told me you are vegan, you told me you are celiac or something like this, and then you can eat this and this and this. So what's the problem? What's wrong? And so we have, I've discovered, so our brain it works like this. So, for example, the first human need, it's about food. So we need to fill our stomach. And so in this moment, our industry is not satisfying in the right way this first human need. And the second one, it's about safety and security. So we need more professionals in this industry that can build a trust with their guests. And so this is a great lack, unfortunately. So it's like when I go to a hotel or people, unconventional foods like me, it's like we pay the same amount of the bed and breakfast, service, but we have to bring our stuff from home, and we have to see everybody that can eat everything, as also Chantal were saying. So this is not the right way to welcome this kind of guest. And so the problem is when conventional foodie doesn't tell you the truth, there is a reason behind. So because when we have lots of bad experiences, so our brain want to protect us. So we prefer to tell to chef and to waiters not the truth. So maybe it happens sometimes. Vegan people, they tell, I'm allergic to milk, something like this. So they're not going to tell you the truth because in the past they had really bad experience. I experienced it, all of these guests having this problem. So they feel guilty, they feel like a problem, and they don't want to tell you the truth because they feel judged for their maybe health issues, or maybe because they have simply chosen to eat that way. So my mission is to tell professional people, it's not your it's not your problem. So you just have to solve some problem. You just have to give some experiences, because these guests are gonna pay you, and that's it. So without judging them. So I'm gonna tell you the differences between please some guest instead of breakthrough. So in which phase are you now? So what does it mean just to please some guests? It means like you give some option, some croissant in a plastic, or as Chantal also told, it's like you give just one or two simple things without passion, without any taste. And so this is just tell to your guest, it's like, okay, we have this one or two options. If it's okay, it's well. If not, it's your problem. But how much does it cost you if you are just giving some simple option? And so if I give you some croissant in a plastic way, it's not an experience, of course. And what does it mean satisfy somebody? It's like, okay, when an unconventional foodie tells you, well, I'm vegetarian, I'm vegan, I'm celiac, I'm lactose intolerant, you know what does it mean. It's not like you're not going to look at him what are like, what are you telling? So what can you eat, or something like this, you know? And what does it mean instead? Break through or conquer your guest. It's like also I tell also this comparison with a relationship. It's like when you feel like a man or a woman is going to break through. It's when you feel special. It's like when you give them the wow experience, when you are outstanding, when you don't have to ask your guest for something, you can read in its mind. So it's like the guest can tell, oh wow, I didn't expect it, and you were treating me as a normal guest also. One of the most beautiful thing that can happen to you as a person, as a professional, and for your business, it's when it's when a guest, let me say, it could be a mom, a father, or a solo traveler, whatever, and shows up to you and tell you, oh, I finally, my son or myself, I could have an amazing experience. I could eat this and this, and without feeling alone or a special guest. It sounds like different. And so this is what worth and what makes you monetize your business. Also, we're gonna cover also this with some case history. What I've discovered, so there are some limited beliefs that unfortunately prevent you for creating a successful unconventional breakfast. And I was starting in 2014 when I came up with my unconventional breakfast format. I realized I was interviewing all the unconventional foodies all over the world in hotels or when I was traveling. And so there are some things that they want to know, and there are some products they want to find on the buffet. And the limited beliefs for professionals are, they think if they put some unconventional food on their buffet, the food cost will increase and they will have no benefit. And this is not true. So, or they think, well, I need more space, so I cannot have everything on my buffet. Of course, it's true, but there are some strategies that you can have if you don't have space. So it's just you have to think about the right question. It's not about can I have or do an unconventional breakfast, yes or not. No, the right question is how can I start a great unconventional breakfast? It's very different. So if somebody tell me, well, I'm not big enough, I'm just a bed and breakfast, I have 1 or 3 rooms, so for 30 or 40 or 50 euro per night or dollars, whatever, I cannot have this kind of food for them, or somebody tell me, there is no demand, so there are just little niches. And as I told you also with my personal experience, it's like we cannot have this kind of food for just one person, or we cannot prepare something just for one person. Or people that tell me something like, oh, well, I've been working for 20 years, and so I don't need to learn something new. It's like I am going to work this way, and that's it. Okay, it's your choice. And over something like the unconventional food can only be eaten by unconventional foodies. Why? No, a vegan option can be eaten from everybody. You don't have to have your maybe insurance badge and tell you, oh, I'm vegan, I can eat this. You are not vegan, you cannot this. It doesn't work this way. So everybody can eat, and you should have the opportunity to eat whatever. So okay. And sometimes it's like hoteliers or restaurant manager tell me, oh, I don't have the right people in my staff now. There is always an excuse. Okay. And the common mistakes when it comes to welcome unconventional foodies are this one. So normally I find out during my mystery guest inspection, they tend to hide products. So let me say, for example, a soya milk. So the hoteliers tell me, if somebody wants soya milk, they just have to ask. It doesn't work this way. So why do I have to ask you for something that I have no idea that you have or not have it? So it's like also when I tell to hotels, well, on your website, why don't you show just one type of room? So let's say a double room. If some guests wanna ask you for other kind of rooms, they ask you. It doesn't work this way, and you know it. So you have to show what you have. And if you don't have space, there are some strategies. You can train your staff, and you can write it on the buffet or somewhere, and you can tell people what you have, even though if you cannot show it, of course. And somebody thinks it's just like you just need to have the organic corner, that it's enough. Or some they believe that the unconventional foodies, if they have some needs, they're going to tell you. And as we told, our brain tend to protect us. So if you had bad experiences, our brain tells you, okay, you're going to have another bad experience, even though it could not be true. Okay, so we need also to involve all departments. So if the reception, for example, have no idea about your breakfast, it's a problem. So it's an opportunity that you can have if you also engage the other departments. It could be the MICE department, the sales department, the booking department, and so on. So this is just one of these mistakes. And normally hoteliers and restaurants, they don't think about specific channels, about specific marketing strategies where they can be more visible in order to break through and conquer this kind of guests. So you have to be present in those channels, online and offline, where these kind of people are gonna meet. Okay, and so how many unconventional foodies can we consider all over the world? So just have a look of some numbers. The problem with the number of vegetarians and vegan for this research, it's critical. I just can tell you the truth about what happened now, because there are several researches. Depending of who decided about that research, it has strange numbers. So the truth is, people take care more about their health. This is the truth, and this is what's going on today. So more people are more interested in health issues and animal issues, and this way. And what about the celiac? For example, it's from the Italian Celiac Association, we can see some good percentage in United States. For example, the 1% of the population is celiac. In Europe, the same way, 1%. So it's like a huge population. In Italy, from the Italian Lactose Intolerant Association, we have about 50% of the population that is lactose intolerant. All over the world, we have about 70% of population. I had no idea about this number a few years ago, and when I realized it, it's like, oh my God, it's a huge number. And just to tell you about the Muslim population, 2 billion Muslims in the world. It's a great opportunity also to show on your buffet about halal food. What about the Jewish one? Well, Jewish community, it's of course it's smaller than the Muslim one, but it's a great community, and the word of mouth, it's very, you have to imagine about your business. If you can satisfy also this kind of population, this kind of needs, you're gonna have great satisfaction. And Jewish people, it depends, of course, of there are different shadows, let me say, of Jewish people. So I realized I started to organize it and to build 5 types of unconventional breakfast. So it's about organic and the territory breakfast. So you always have to combine territory options. So it's about the sustainability of your territory. It's about the partnership you can have, the veggie breakfast for vegetarian and for vegan, the gluten-free and lactose-free breakfast, the energetic breakfast for athletes and sportive, also people that come to your hotel and they really need also, as the other one conventional food is, some specific food. And it's, of course, about the religious breakfast. We've seen the halal and the kosher food. And I'm gonna tell you also some, let me say, some logos and trademarks that are most recognized by unconventional foodies. These are just a few of them. So we have the first one. It's about the organic. It's the trademark about the European organic trademark. We have Demeter. It's about not only the organic. It's about the biodynamic. It's more the organic. So we have the fair trade one. I think everybody knows it, but in our industry, I can tell you, when I show this kind of logos, people have no idea. When I tell them, can you remember some product from Starbucks? Okay, from the coffee or the chocolate. Okay, they can realize after, oh, okay, they have the same logos this way. So we have the halal, we have the lactose-free logo and the milk-free logo. There are some differences. If you want, we are gonna go deeper also in at the end of this presentation. What is the difference between a lactose-free product? What kind of percentage of lactose do they have inside? And what does it mean, milk-free products? So we have the star with the key. It's about the kosher products. We have some marmalade products here in Italy, for example, with this kind of logo. But nobody knows it because nobody used to take to see a package and in a detailed way. So, and about the vegan and vegetarian world, we have, these are just the 3 main logos. We have from Italy the Vegan OK Association and the Qualità Vegetariana, the vegetarian quality. But of course, I think everybody knows about the Vegan Society, the international logo. And we have the other one for the gluten-free products. These are some the main one that you can consider when you have to buy some products for your breakfast. So let me show you, let me tell you about the 3 golden rules. So when I discovered some little belief, when I discovered about the common mistakes that hoteliers make when it comes to welcome unconventional foodies, I realized, okay, what can I figure out about the solution? And I figure out with this kind of triangle. So it's very simple, by the way. So you need to choose the first golden rule. It's about the products. So you need to choose the right products with the right suppliers. And it's like, let me say, you have to choose a Ferrari, okay? You need to know how to choose the right products. And the second golden rule is about the training your staff and motivate them in order to choose and to, let me say, to drive a good Ferrari. So if you have a great Ferrari, but if you don't have the right license to drive the Ferrari, it doesn't work. It will be a cost, I can tell you, of course. And the third golden rule, and it's about the communication. It's about how you would like to inform, which is the best way to communicate on the buffet offline and on your website online, and how can I also communicate in a better way on social media. So these are the three simple golden rules that can help you to create an unconventional food and beverage experience, starting from the breakfast. And I can tell you some secret behind these three golden rules. How can you choose the products, and how can you choose a right supplier? Well, first of all, it's about passion. When I also tell to professionals and to my students too, how can you choose the right supplier? And normally everybody tell me, it's about the quality of the product, this kind of things. Okay, right? But it's not the only thing you can consider, because about the quality, there, especially in Italy, we have lots of quality, high premium food products, of course. So the reason number one you have to consider is the passion. Who are you speaking to, and is passionate about their product, their company? So are some questions that you can ask yourself, and so it's a sort of checklist to understand if the supplier is the right one. So how do they talk about the products? What stories are behind? Their company and their food? Are they in love with their products? And what kind also of exposition do they attend? It's important also to understand how they market themselves and what kind of client do they have, so, and how much they care about the environment. So we need to ask the suppliers what they do in order to choose some meat or some fish or whatever kind of products. So it's about also how you can find the right, I can say, the successful waiters, because these are one of the main character that can help you to build your success. In Italy, we have also a big issue, a big problem with this, but not only in Italy, because when I talk to chefs and to other people, it's like the same problem all over the world. So I can tell you the 10 main characteristic, and the empathy, the passion, and the positive attitude, it's everything, of course. First of all, if you have to choose somebody with lots of experience but with no passion, it doesn't work. So it's better to choose somebody with no experience, but with the great motivation to serve your guests and to work for your company. So sometimes it happens. We were talking also with Erik. Normally at breakfast we have people that have no energy, that are like zombie, or they cannot even speak English, so they are not willing to help their guests in a great way. And if we think about intolerances or allergies, it's a problem if there is a misunderstanding, so because your guest could have a healthy issue, and so you never want that something happening to your hotel or in your restaurant. So I consider a successful waiter as a territory ambassador. So they need to know what they serve. They need to know where are these products from. And for example, I had one of my last experience when in a hotel in Rimini, and the hotelier, she's a woman. She launched the animal breakfast. So her uniqueness with this hotel, it's like, okay, even though I'm like a owner, I don't want to eat meat for my hotel, for my business. Okay, I prefer to choose meat that is from farmers that are not treating in a bad way the animals. So these are the new trends, but it's very difficult to let hoteliers understand these are a social responsibility, because they just look at the cost. This is one of the biggest problem and obstacle. It's about the food cost. They just focus on the food cost and not on the value they can give to their guests. They not focus about the partnership on your territory, and it's about the storytelling. So if you have the first golden rule but you don't have the second, the third one, it's a cost. So you have to understand how to market better yourself and your uniqueness. And one of the other problem is like hoteliers tell me, we always have young people that has no motivation, they don't want to work. No, it's not always this way. Well, I have lots of experience as a teacher, also as a professor, and there are some academies that are that have very motivated and young people that wanna do something and wanna make the difference in this industry. And so what I can tell you, you have to choose the right one, and you have to be clear about the characteristics of the person, of the waiter, of the staff that you want inside. Because when I ask some hoteliers, well, what would you like? What would be your ideal, not only client, but also your ideal colleague, co-worker? And normally they don't really know, they don't realize it. So it's like, what kind of question? Yeah, but you have to be clear, okay, in order to attract the right one. And I can tell you also some tips. And normally during breakfast, hoteliers tell me, well, we are scared to talk with our guests, and if they want to tell us something, they just ask us. But it doesn't work this way. People don't wanna tell you something that's wrong. Maybe they tell you after on TripAdvisor or Booking.com. So you have to know when is the perfect moment to ask your guests and what kind of question. For example, if your purpose is to know if you are introducing a gluten-free cake, let me say, or a vegan cake, whatever. If you know that is the right choice, you can ask to, let me say, 10 people during breakfast and tell them, for me, you are very important, and your opinion is very important. Can you tell me from 1 to 10 how much do you like this cake? And so this is a good way to oblige your guest to give you a number. So maybe you think it's 4, but for your guest it's 8 or even 10. And when you ask this and you receive this kind of answer, it's also a good way, let me say, from 10 guests, 8 or 9 guests tell you, okay, this product, it's 10 or it's 8. Okay, so it's a good way to motivate also your colleague and tell them, oh, you made a great job, so we are going in the right direction. So there are also, this is a good way also not to waste some food on the buffet. You have to consider this also in the unconventional breakfast. So always choose the local recipes and local food, and the challenge is to find some ingredients that are suitable also to unconventional foodies. So this way you can reduce the cost, the food cost, and you can allow to all guests to have the same experience without differentiating. You can eat this in that corner, you can eat this one in the other corner. So it doesn't work this way. And I'll show you some example. I follow this hotel, Village Svaki, a 4-star hotel with restaurant in Pantelleria, Sicily. If you've not been there, it's amazing. And so this is a young pastry chef, and his nickname is Pasticcino. It's like a little pastry chef. And when I told him, for example, about the bacio pantesco, the pantesco kiss, I don't know in English, okay, it's a typical sweet product, a local one. And so it's a biscuit with inside ricotta. We have this kind of cheese in Italy. For example, one of them, I cannot eat ricotta, I'm sorry. And so I told to Pasticcino, his real name is Vincenzo, so I cannot eat it. So what can I eat? And so imagine also other guests with the same problem as mine. And I also tell you, we don't have to think about problem of your guest, but we have to think about needs. So this is also a great difference in your mindset for hospitality industry. So he told me, well, for you we have the fruit, or you can have some ice cream. Oh, I told him, no, you cannot answer this way like everybody. Of course, I want to eat also something sweet. So you are the pastry chef. So please invent and create something that also me and other guests can eat the same way. So here lies an unconventional bacio pantesco. So he created a new version that it's also gluten-free and lactose-free and vegan. And so we use also this new product to we communicate it on the social media. And this is another one that he creates. It's a simple vegan chocolate cake. And so you have to understand also the right hashtag, how to tell the story behind these products. So it's a new way to communicate everybody that you are doing something new. And it's a great experience also for the normal guest. And we've been training all the staff, all the waiters inside the hotel, and starting from the booking also. So all the staff knew how many lactose intolerant, how many vegans, and these kind of things. And in the breakfast room and in the restaurant room, we trained and we asked to our guests. So have you tried the bacio pantesco, the unconventional one? Have you tried also the conventional one? So what do you think? Can you give us a number from 1 to 10? So this was very engaging, and also the results was also that the guest gave us some video testimonials in order to tell this kind of stories, these news opportunities and these new choices that the hotels gave. This is another hotel. It's a eco hotel and also a bike hotel in Varese here in Lombardy. It's a 3-star, and we made some joke for this. And the owner, she created. She's also a chef. She created a traditional tart and a vegan tart. Who win? Well, she realized that the vegan tart wins the game, and we asked people. We didn't tell anything, so we haven't communicated anything about this is the traditional one, this is the vegan. It's like a blended test, so people had no idea, because if you tell somebody, well, this is a vegan tart and this is a traditional one, it's like they, in their mind, it's like, oh, vegan tart, it's like I'm not vegan, or it's not tasty. So this was a challenge, and realized if you just use this kind of technique, it's about communication, it's about engaging, it's about just having fun with your guest. And this is also organic breakfast in Rimini, so that talks about the territory, and also for people, travelers, guests with a different food lifestyle. And you can also, I have lots of other cases. So it's very important to understand that you can give a name to your breakfast. For example, I had a client, when in Pantelleria, we talked about the colazione pantesca, well, the pantesca breakfast. So this is the name of the territory. For example, in Sardinia, with a bed and breakfast, so there are no excuses. If you are a bed and breakfast or a 5-star luxury hotels, you have no excuses. So in Sardinia, with this bed and breakfast, just free rooms, we created the longevity breakfast, the longevity Sardinian breakfast, because we discovered some kind of products, and in that territory, it's near Cagliari, people were living 100 years, so we called it this way. In Lazio, it's a region where there is Rome. We created the Ciociara breakfast. So it's a little region inside this biggest region, and so it was very specific. So just discover what kind of products you can choose in your territory, you can have, and be conscious, be aware of maybe you have cooked ham or a salami that is also gluten-free, and maybe you didn't realize before. So just take a picture of what you have first and what you communicate with what you have. And then the second step is, okay, what can I introduce? What can I do? And there are some, use Instagram to find some gluten-free vegan option. There are very good choices, and you just have to discover it. It's like when you have to start to drive. It's like, okay, the first time, it's like, oh my God, I'm scared, or maybe I can do I can have some trouble. No, okay, it's like going to the gym. You just need to train more and discover more. And on your social media, tell the stories, create on Facebook an album, on your Instagram, just take some picture and tell the story and use the hashtag to engage and to attract this kind of people. Find out what kind of exposition do you have in your region or in your country, that where you can find this kind of guests. So it's a new opportunity to make new potential clients, to create new databases, and to create new offers. So it's about a personal growth. And what about the fruit we were telling at the beginning? It's like um, in hospital industry, it's like hoteliers tell me, we have not, we are just few people. We cannot do everything. Of course, okay, but the fruit, it's the most important thing. And so for them, it's like they're too much time to prepare the fruit, and maybe it gets dark easiest and fastest, so they don't want to show the darkest fruit. And they don't understand, for example, for business travelers like me, but everybody can be a pleasure guest, something like this. And it's like you have to give the fruit the cut its fruit, because I've seen lots of scenes. It's like if you have to cut yourself the fruit, you're gonna in some way you're gonna how can I say in English? The problem is your t-shirt is gonna have some problem, and so you have to go to the room, and yeah, it's a waste of time, and people are get angry. So just give them something easy to eat, and so if they have also to go to work, they're gonna go right away, and they don't have to waste time. So you have to consider lots of things behind. And
Concetta,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. We should probably wrap up quickly because we
Yeah,
want to see if there's any questions that people have, and we only
yeah,
have
of
about
course.
four more minutes.
Okay. Do you prefer me to stop the?
Oh, so that was your last slide.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, super. So why don't you expand the slide, make it bigger,
Okay.
so people can
Okay.
see your information. And then anyone who has a question for Concetta, please type it into the chat window. I do have one question. When you were talking about on one of your slides, it said storyteller versus story seller,
Yeah.
and that caught my eye. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. When you are able to tell the story behind your company, behind a product, behind the suppliers you are choosing, you can sell even better. So the waiter, the successful waiter, but not only the successful waiter, everybody in your team, if they are able to tell your guest what's behind, so where that product comes from, how many kilometers, that kind of wine, what kind of agriculture, what does it mean, the organic food, what does it mean, a farm that are not treated bad an animal, so what kind of, it's a slow food product, it's IGP, or okay, I know about the acronym, so you have to explain the value behind that logo, what does it mean, and you have to put on the buffet also the right communication, and the storytelling can start there. So it's not only about the ingredient, it's about also what kind of images I can use also, so in order to help the waiter to start a conversation with the client. And so the better you ask to your client, the better you engage them, the better you can make feel him important. So the uniqueness is about focusing on the guest.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have a question for Concetta before we have to wrap up? Any question about special diets in your business? Anything that she might be able to answer while she's here today? Going once, going twice. Okay, I think that that will do it. Concetta, thank you so much. It's always
Okay.
a pleasure to listen to you. You definitely know a lot about this subject matter, and thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge with everybody today.
Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you.
Okay.